I was at a dinner party with the ex that I came to Malta with, and he said in front of everybody, what are you going to do for this birthday? And he had a big birthday coming up, and probably, I don't know, 70 or something. And no, I'm just kidding. But I was not far off. I think my next big birthday was my 40th birthday, and I said, and this was in 2009, and my birthday was in 2000, and my 40th would have been 2014. And I said, you know what I really want to do for my birthday? I want to run the London Marathon, because the London Marathon is in my city and it's on my birthday. And I always used to go down and watch the London Marathon. And I said, one day I want to run a marathon. And that's what I wanted to do. Okay. And a little did I know that that would actually happen. And the reason that it happened is that in January the 26th, 2010, I had a horse riding accident. And I can never tell this story without getting teary. A horse bolted. I was riding a horse in Madtab. I was reschooling or retraining a racehorse that was way, way, way better than my experience and my qualifications. And I shouldn't have been on that. In fairness, in hindsight, I really shouldn't have been trying to reschool this horse. This horse was an incredible horse, but it really needed an experienced, very, very experienced, intuitive horsewoman. And I was only walking and trotting it, and it was the horse, and it was a very windy day. And the owner of the horse came out, why don't you canter the horse? And as he did that, at 6 a.m. in the morning, the horse bolted and it headed towards the road. And I pulled a jockey stop. And what that is you hold the rein, one rein on the neck of the horse, and you get the other one, and you pull it so hard that the horse has to turn its head like that, not wanting to get away from the mic. And it will bring the horse down. But I was heading towards the road. I was heading towards the road the main road through Madtab. I had no choice. And I don't remember anything after that. I sustained 2 brain hemorrhages and I ruptured my spleen. So why is that important? Because from that, I was in hospital. That was a Monday morning, and I just started a new job. I'd just broken up with the boyfriend, and I just moved house.
Do you know how you fell off the horse?
No.
You don't recall any of that?
Absolutely nothing.
You just recall pulling the jockey stop?
And nothing after that.
And nothing after that?
Nothing after that. Okay. Absolutely nothing. Until probably Tuesday. Because the brain hemorrhages were in the temporal lobe, which is responsible for memory, smell, taste. Someone's going to tell me that I'm wrong, but definitely for memory. Okay, we have someone that can look that up. I love that. This is what I need.
Do you use Perplexity at all?
No.
I'll share with you the app later.
Okay, brilliant.
It's a really good,
excellent,
phenomenal research app. Okay, so you said you came around on Tuesday.
Yeah.
When did the accident happen?
Happened on the Monday morning,
okay,
6 a.m.
Okay, so it was like a day later.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Wednesday, I get a call from my new employer.
Okay.
Saying to me, I'm really sorry that you've had this accident, but you know what? You're new to the company, and if you're not in work by Friday, I'm going to have to let you go.
Wow.
So I've just moved. I'm in Malta. Remember me saying about what you don't get if you're not Maltese? You don't get credit, you don't get a loan, you don't get anything. The only thing I had was the small amount of money in my bank account, and I knew that I couldn't be without a job. Yeah. So I actually dismissed myself Thursday night, and I went into work on Friday with a drip attached to me because I had a ruptured spleen. I'd had a minor ruptured spleen. And unfortunately, I suspect, or I'm told, that this might have affected. From that, I developed accident-related epilepsy. Didn't know
give yourself time to recover.
Exactly. So I'd been told that the hospital told me that you should not be signing yourself out. You should not. We are recommending that you do not do this. And I said, well, I have to. Again, I can't remember much about it because I actually have quite a bit of a cloudy fog around 2010.
Since you were a citizen, were you also paying for hospital? Or
no, I was British, so we had
the EU.
Yeah, I'm a resident, and we had the EU agreement,
all right,
that was okay.
Cool.
And the people in Matador were absolutely blinding. They were fantastic.
They're brilliant.
Yeah,
nurses are really like the nurses at Matador are something else. Huh?
Yeah. Well, I think anybody who goes into that profession are really saints among us. They really, really are. I'd given a
Yeah.
false name. My memory was I'd given my mother's maiden name and as my name. My brain was mashed. And I went back to work. And then 6 months later, I went to the doctor and said, I keep having these really weird electric shocks through my body. Strange stuff is going on.
Yeah.
And he said, you have epilepsy.
Yeah.
And I said, you've got to be kidding me. I remember it was a Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
And I said, and I went to the local GP and I said, I'm getting this, it feels like an electric shock. And I get like, and my brain's a bit mashed when it happens. He said, you've got epilepsy, simple partial seizures. And I said, that can't be true.
Yeah.
And he said, you have epilepsy. I'm going to refer you. And it took about 2 months for me to tell anyone. I didn't even tell my parents. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed that I had
What was the root of the embarrassment?
Because epilepsy is not a good, it's not an easy
course.
thing to admit to in the first place. But I mean, I remember this lovely gentleman coming up to me and saying to me, I'd never guessed you. I came out publicly on the Times of Malta, and I'll tell you why in a second. And he came up to me and he said, I never thought you'd have epilepsy. You look so normal. But when we think of epilepsy, we think of, there's 42 different types of epilepsy. Again, probably someone's going to correct me on that. But at the time, there was 42 known types of epilepsy. They're so different. But we always think of epilepsy. We think somebody falling to the ground and shaking.
Yeah.
And it's scary. It's frightening. It's embarrassing. I had a great group of friends. I developed smell hallucinations with the seizures. It was really... there's a whole bunch of stories to do with that story. That was hugely massive. Every month.
Did it affect or did it interfere with your life? I mean,
I would get probably about every month, every 3 weeks, I would get seizures, a set of seizures. Something would kick it off. I'd get auras, so I knew they were coming. So I had to get off.
Sorry, what?
Auras.
Auras are what?
Auras. So I'd get a signal. The brain would tell me that I'm getting epilepsies. I'm getting seizures. They're coming. My aura was deja vu. So if I suddenly got deja vu, which for most of us is kind of normal when you're tired, but if I got deja vu, and even now if I get deja vu, I get nervous. Because deja vu meant I had probably about 2 hours to get off the road, get home, get into somewhere that was stable, because those electric shocks were coming. Right. And the smell hallucinations were coming.
Was it a painful
no
experience, the shocks?
No.
What is it like?
You want a full description?
Entirely, yes.
So you're sitting here and it comes and it starts in the middle of your torso. Mine would start I wouldn't lose consciousness at all, but start in the middle of the torso, and the electric shock would spread out through the body to my fingers, to my extremities. Yeah. And at the same time, I would get memory disruption. So I would be like, hang on a second, who am I? Where is this? Okay. And after a long time, I used to be able to manage that and keep that in, and I could carry on doing you unless you were someone who knew me very well, I could have a seizure and you wouldn't know I was having a seizure. I'd get a smell hallucination. And then it would probably up to 40 seconds. After that, it would pass. And they could be anywhere between 30 and 70 of these things that would come over and over again. Were they unpleasant?
30 and 70 over what period of time?
24 hours, 48 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're pretty...
So it's memory loss?
Memory loss, electric shocks.
Like even down to the most basic parts of your life. Like, I don't know who I am. That level of... Probably memory loss is probably not actually the best description. Memory disruption. Right. So I would suddenly be like, oh, I got to go and see Grandma and Granddad. And I would literally say, I'm going to go and see my Grandma and Granddad. My Grandma and Granddad had been dead for years. Oh. But I suddenly felt like my Grandma and Granddad were still alive. Wow. And I was going to go and see them. So it's memory disruption. Mm-hmm. When they started, before I got them in under control, I would actually be like, who am I? Who am I? What am I doing here? Wow. Where am I at? Why am I here? Who is this? Actually, in actual fact, very bizarrely, as I'm telling you this, I'm getting a kind of a taste feeling in my head that I'm like, my brain is reminding me what that felt like. And then they would happen, and then eventually they would pass after maybe up to 72 hours. And it's really hard to describe a seizure because it's not necessarily unpleasant.
Okay.
You're getting this strange body sensations. Mine, and I'm reminding that there's
this
42
is your subjective experience. Yes.
There was something, I remember when they went, I was ecstatic, but I was also like, oh.
I don't get to experience that anymore.
Yeah. I can't say whether I'm not saying it's pleasant. I'm just saying that there was something about them that was a bit, I don't know.
It was a phenomenon that was all your own.
Absolutely. That is a brilliant way of describing it.
Mela, tlaqna?